This is More Than Reality podcast, where we dive into all things faith, family, and marriage and share that there is so much more than the reality that you see on the surface. Welcome to More Than Reality with Adam and Danielle Busby.
All right, welcome back to a More Than Reality podcast.
With Adam and Danielle Busby, episode 10 coming at you now.
Episode 10, we made it to 10.
We've made it. 2 hands. Hi, 10. Man, a lot has...
We actually took a break off from recording last week.
Yeah.
Luckily, we had like a couple in the tank.
A lot happened last week, man.
We had like a really busy week. We usually record like on Tuesday or Wednesday, and Tuesday last week was election day. Kids were at home, and so it just made it difficult. You know, when you have 6 kids in the house, it's kind of not very quiet. Conducive to recording a podcast because it needs to be quiet. So we're like, let's just skip this week. We'll do it next week. Today we're actually going to record 2 episodes to try to like catch back up.
Yeah.
So
what happened? So
it was a busy week.
Kids were off. We have a new president-elect.
Yeah. Now, surprisingly, I thought this was going to like drag on for a while, like the last election did, and we found out next day.
Yeah, setting some records there.
So, love them or you hate them, we have a new president-elect.
Right.
That's about all I'm going to say about that.
Yep.
So.
But above all, God still wins.
Yeah.
And he's still in control.
He is.
So.
Have faith in that. And because our hope is in him. So, no matter who's in power or whatever, everything.
Still believe he's above all.
Yeah. We did that. Election, new president-elect. Then at the end of the week, we left. We had a couple's weekend
away for a friend's birthday. And
we went to somewhere we've never been before.
Yes. And I love new places. I love traveling with new locations. And it was absolutely stunning and beautiful. And we were literally in a Hallmark movie for
it was because they already had all of the Christmas lights out
in the mountains. Is it really mountains? Is that mountains? I'm so used to like hill country, but is that considered mountains or is it hills?
There's a lot of rocks.
I don't know, but we were up in Missouri and never been to Missouri, but it was beautiful out there. I feel like this mic needs to be up here.
Just push it.
There we go. Because I keep hearing different changes in my voice. But yeah, we had an amazing weekend celebrating a good friend with some couples trip. First time traveling with majority of these people for an extended period of time. So you never know if that's going to be good or bad when you throw like a bunch of new people. We didn't plan it. It wasn't our trip. So we were invited. So we went and so glad we went. But you never know what to expect traveling with new couples for the first time. Is it going to work? Is it going to blend? And you're all in one house together. You're like, oh, we could do this again. Or you find out who you can travel with
like,
again.
Oof, I'm not doing that again.
Because we love to travel and we love to travel with the kids and family, but we also love to travel alone. We love to travel with our friends. So it's a mix. I love friendship travel because if it's not working out, you can still have your like alone time with your spouse, but also have like your friend time together. So honestly, it was a really great trip. I felt like everybody got along well. We had a lot of laughs, a lot of belly laughs, a lot of crying laughs, a lot of laughs like, oh my God, I just peed myself.
So we were in Branson, Missouri at Big Cedar Lodge, and we actually had this huge house on a lake overlooking this lake. All of us stayed in the same house. And so like each evening, we either went out to dinner or like the last evening we stayed home and cooked. We cooked a bunch of steaks and stuff, Good Rancher steaks. And then we just played games. We did like a dress up where
90s couple.
We've had to pick a 90s couple. And so Danielle picked My Girl for us. And
no, the first guess for like what was the favorite in the 90s was Dumb and Dumber. That is my all-time favorite movie. And I just figured that's so typical. Like everybody does that. And I was like, I want to do it because that is my first thought.
Your favorite movie?
Yeah, but I was like, somebody's going to do it or everybody always does it. Let's go to something else that no one does or hasn't done or hasn't been seen. And so I picked My Girl because, I just love that movie.
I haven't seen that in forever.
I know.
We should have watched it before we went.
Well, yeah, we could have. But I actually want the kids to watch it, but I need to rewatch it because I don't know what it is. PG-13, but I know PG-13 back in the day was very different than what it is today.
But rated R movies were a lot different than they are today.
Yeah, so I
feel like there was way more nudity back in like the 80s and 90s in rated R movies.
Yeah, now it's a lot of
it's just like vulgar language.
And
that's really
gender.
It. I mean, you don't quite see as, I don't know. I feel like there isn't quite, I don't know, maybe I just don't watch those kind of movies, but I couldn't tell you the last time like I watched a movie that just had like nudity in it, like a rated R movie.
Yeah, I mean,
it may just be me. Like I just don't watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really watch movies. We're usually like TV show binge watch, kind of like series and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we had a great weekend. Came home to the kids and back into reality. And here we are back to filming the next podcast, episode 10. So I think, episode 9 was the fun one where we shared
all your stories
and recorded. And so that was so fun. Cool technology of like being able to have you call in and share that and talk about it and laugh about it.
It was funny because we had asked weeks ago for all the recordings.
And there was a lot of them.
I skimmed through and I was just hitting like star on a bunch just as I was going through. And then it went probably 2 or 3 weeks before I went ahead and loaded them onto the soundboard. And so like I had no clue what was on those. And it was just like completely fresh. Like I'm just listening to it like the first time. So,
anyways, the episode 8 was starting in the journey of infertility and becoming a family and going down the route of expanding the Busby name and wanting to have a family. So we discussed and kind of shared.
Even though we have no chance of expanding the Busby name because we have all girls.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you never know. One day.
What
if one of the girls wants to keep the Busby name and then their husband gets the Busby name?
Riley would do that.
No, I'm sorry. We want to be Busby, whatever.
No, my dad had all girls, so one of us have to take our name.
Yeah. Hey.
It'd have to be like find a family with all boys where it doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah, because they have another son
we can
that'll
spare one.
Yeah, we can spare one. But yeah, so that was a heartfelt, deep, vulnerable kind of like state of like sharing, walking through infertility of that, what it meant to me, and like finding God through that and sharing that kind of part of my testimony. And so today's episode, we're really going to step into the next phase of wanting to have a sibling for Blake and just feeling the heart of growing the family even more.
I think it was funny because Blake was such a good baby.
I mean, she was literally like the definition of a perfect baby.
Even to this day, I mean, she is a
great kid.
I mean, she's just super empathetic, super loving, just genuine, just
sweet
kind.
Soul.
Yeah, such a sweet soul, great kid.
But goofy, sarcastic,
so like,
everything like you.
So it's just funny because like she's our first kid, so it's all we know. And so we're like, man, we're like awesome parents. Like, look what we raised, man.
She was
like,
sleeping
kids
through the
are
night.
Piece of cake.
She just was. You just never had an issue with her. And
sleep training, potty training,
every phase was just
graduation, like from a crib to like a toddler bed.
We literally had no like challenge with Blake.
She loves vegetables. She was a great pick
sleeper.
Broccoli and tomatoes or whatever over pretty much anything.
Okay, by 12:30, she's going to want a nap. If she didn't have lunch before that, she's falling asleep at the table.
We lived and died by the schedule. I mean, honestly, it was also great parenting because like Danielle is like so regimented, so task oriented and schedule oriented. It was funny, like whenever we would go on trips and my mom and dad would come in from Louisiana to watch Blake, and Danielle would like hand my dad a paper of Blake's schedule. And it's like, do not rock her before a nap. Like you literally walk in, turn her sound machine on, put her in bed, and walk out. And dad just started laughing. He's like, yeah, right. And sure enough, he's like, okay, I'm going to try it once. And this isn't going to work, but I'm going to try it once. And sure enough, walked in there, set her down, walked out, not a peep.
Yeah.
And he's like, huh, okay, they got it figured out. So I guess part of that is good parenting. We had some stuff figured out. We were super regimented, but we lucked out with Blake.
But also we had a schedule which one worked for us, and it just helped us know our child and get to have a child that we knew what was wrong when something was wrong. Oh, she's upset, she's crying because it's time to eat, or it's because she's really tired. And it helped us be able to continue living life and not adapting and changing life that we were doing and what our routine was.
Run your life.
Yeah, she didn't change the plans. Like, she came into it and we were still doing life. Where we went, she went. And we just adapted to, if it's nap time, like she took a nap where we were going, you know? So it worked for us, and we felt pretty good about and pretty happy with having a kid. And this was easy, quote, quote, you know? So I guess when we thought about wanting to have another kid, we saw a lot of joy with that, but we also knew there would be a lot of hard with that, because we knew it wasn't going to be easy to start this journey of like infertility. But I will say that the challenge that we did have with having Blake was I was not able to breastfeed. Like, I was not able to produce milk. And there are challenges out there that other moms face. And I remember that being one thing as a mom. That is something like I wanted to do. I felt that's what I needed to do. That's what I was, as a mom, that's what we're supposed to do. But in the realness of it, there is a lizard on the wall right there. A freaking lizard. A lizard. How is there a lizard in here? Do you see it? On the white.
Oh, cool.
Why is there a lizard in your office? In the podcast room?
Because we have little girls that catch lizards. I guess
the door is over there too. And
we're right by
we were just out there with the door open, sitting out there. Oh my God. I'm going to look at that the whole time. I feel like I'm going to take a picture so I can share this. So people know, like, there really is a lizard in here. It's probably blurry. Adam won't approve, but there's a lizard in here, and I'm going to share that. That was a challenge, like trying to adapt to like breastfeeding and not being able to produce, and the whole latching thing. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I had never done this before. And I remember going to the classes and bringing Blake and trying to do this at home. And that was challenging. And so going through that mental phase and stage of I'm a mom, I'm supposed to be breastfeeding, it's what's best. And trying to like overcome that thought, but my child needs more than what I'm producing. And so supplementing was something that we had to do. The more I was pumping, I wasn't producing anymore. And like what they say, you pump more, you get more, you pump more, you get more, blah, blah, blah. Nothing was working. I actually was taking these supplements and stuff to actually help me produce and make like 2 ounces. And that's what I would get. But at the time, like, she needs 6 ounces. And I was only getting 2 ounces a day. It wasn't like every time. So I did have to walk through that mental phase of, okay, what's best for baby? I have to be able to supplement and do more. And so that was probably one of the biggest challenges of like becoming a first time mom. But everything else was, I honestly would say, like, Blake was a great baby. We figured it out, and we felt like we knew how to do this life. This is what we were made for, Whenever it came time, your peers around you, your friends, your family, everybody's having like their next child, their second child, or maybe even their third child at this time. We had always, in the best case scenario of our plan of life, which we knew we weren't in control of when we tried to plan our own family, we knew that we wanted to have a larger family, but that wasn't easy for us. And that wasn't necessarily what God had in store for us, giving our planning and our time. And it took us longer to have Blake than we expected. It didn't hit the mark on like, this is when we wanted to have kids. It was later, according to God's time. And, as time went on and we got older and years went by, we did look back and think, man, God knew what our timing was going to be in the future and what was going to be going on. And if we would have had Blake, according to what we thought was the timing, Adam would not have been around, because you would have been stuck after turnaround after turnaround after turnaround. And like, you wouldn't have been here, and you would have been gone. And I would have basically been like that single parent. And I know moms do this in people do this all the time, and that is your walk. But in our story, as we look back and give God the glory, God knew what was best for us going forward, and what we couldn't even vision, he already knew. And when he blessed us with Blake, it was the perfect time. And I'm not going to take anything away from that. So going to have another child was mentally, when you go through infertility, you have kind of like this block of like, man, we want to have another child, but infertility. Oh, are we going to do this again? Is it going to be the same? It's going to be hard. How long is it going to take? So you wrestle with a lot of those thoughts.
Yeah, you just remember,
right?
You remember what it was like. Do we want to go down this road? Part of it is you feel guilty because we prayed and prayed and prayed, and God answered our prayer and gave us this miracle, which was Blake. You know, how could we be so selfish and ask for another one? Yeah. Ask for more, like it's not good enough or it's not enough, whenever we just begged and pleaded with God to give us a child.
Right.
And that was hard. That was just to come to kind of terms with asking for another child.
Yeah. And I mean, we weren't quiet about that part of our life. We had already walked through infertility. We had Blake. We had community. We had people praying for us constantly, and being vulnerable enough to your close circle of community of Christians. We would tell them, I'm struggling asking for another child. My heart desires this. How do I ask God for more when he blessed us with what we asked for in general? We went through a season where it took us, our hearts and our minds, to connect with when is the right time to approach this phase in life. And so just a lot of prayer going through, how do we ask God for this? And God already knows your hearts. Like he already knows your desires, and he already knows he's just wanting you to bring him into those prayers and conversations with him, because he's always there. And we have to be walking this phase with him and be mindful that bring him in, talk with him, be honest, be real, be vulnerable with him. And we went through a lot of prayers before of like saying like, okay, look at it in the outside of what we want to have another child. What would we, in all honesty, what do we want? And really bring it out to those questions. I would love a sibling for Blake. I would love to have more than just one sibling for Blake. I selfishly don't want to go through infertility. I want to be able to breastfeed. You know, we came up with a list of these things, and these are things that we prayed for in a community of people, and not just like one-on-one or me with God. Like this was prayers that we had for months and months and months, and timing right, we went ahead and said, okay, let's start this journey again.
Yeah. And so this time around, so before, we went years where I was going to a urologist. Danielle was going to her OB, which was a fertility specialist. They were like tweaking drugs and stuff and trying to fine tune to where Danielle was having a regular cycle and producing a regular amount of follicles monthly. I was going, and like they were changing different dosages of drugs and stuff like that to make sure to get like my count and stuff up and ideal where it needs to be or as best as possible. And so this next time around, we go to Danielle's doctor and we're like, okay, I think we want to try for another. And he's like, okay, we'll jump back onto exactly what we were doing last time.
But before that, we need to look at Danielle, like let's do some scans and everything.
And then I needed to go. Yeah. And so this time around, so I went off to a lab to give another sample, which, hey, that's what I do.
You were a pro at it at that point.
Yeah, gotta get them demons out.
Oh, Lord. I knew you just had to say it. You had to say it.
So went to the lab, exercised the demons, and they were all good. And I didn't need to do anything additional this time around. So here we are. We're starting this new round of fertility, and
that's one answered prayer.
It was already one thing that we had less to do this time around.
Yeah,
and so we're like,
as far as infertility,
that had us feeling good. We're like, oh, okay, that's
good sign.
Great sign.
Yeah. So then I kind of had to start with the medication again. This was no different change, medication or dosage from when we got pregnant with Blake. It was just, this is what you're going to start with. This is what you're going to do. This is what you got pregnant with Blake on. And Adam was completely fine. So I started medication, tracked the cycle, went in a week later, whatnot, and we did an IUI process, interuterine insemination. And then the rest of the month goes on and we're continuing to have normal marital
sex,
love, making love.
Putting them demons in you.
Oh my gosh, they're not demons. Why do people say that? I just thought that. Like, why is that even said? That doesn't make sense, right? Right?
No, it doesn't. It's just dumb.
Okay, I'm just wanting you to admit that.
It's funny.
It's dumb funny. So we did that procedure and, month in, trying not to, one of those prayers prior to was, we want to be able to still hold on to our marriage strong, and we have a daughter, and just, we don't want to be stressed about this scenario and like trying to expand family. But here we are, we're at this phase, we're feeling good. We feel like it's a praise that Adam's levels were completely fine. He doesn't have to do any extra infertility work, and he's just going to be Adam. So we did that 1 month, and, time goes on, and we get to the point where it's like, find out if you're pregnant, and it was unsuccessful. So I felt, do you remember like what you felt in that moment? Okay, it wasn't successful. We did not get pregnant this month. What did you feel in that moment?
Yeah. So after the first month of just it being unsuccessful,
and I think
it was like a gut punch. We were already feeling good. I hadn't needed to do anything. And so we're like, man, like, okay, this is looking up. And then all of a sudden, like, we have that first month and negative. And we're like, oh no, here we go.
And I think any family who is wanting to have a baby, whether it's infertility or not, you get a negative test and you're kind of like, oh,
Oh yeah.
But to us, it was deeper than just that, us trying for the first time, because we had a history of so many negatives prior to having a daughter to.
It was just like a trigger.
It was a trigger,
Everything just comes back. Like all of the negativity, all of that just junk from before, it just like starts to like kind of encroach on you. And, even though like this time around, like we were very positive through it, but it was just this reminder of like, okay, this wasn't easy. And here we go.
Yeah. And, I remember, like I think in the previous episode when we started talking about infertility and journey through Blake, I talked about how Jesus captured my heart during that trial, and I was later then baptized as a believer. And so when we get to this phase, years have passed on. I have already been a Christian and been walking life as a Christian and, in community with Christian people, and just feeling high on that life of like love and support and comfort and all the things. Yeah. And so here we are feeling, we're here at this door. We feel like God's answered some of these prayers that we've been asking for in this next phase of life. But now we're at this point where we're having a negative test, and we just felt it triggered us. It really did hurt. And I really, at that moment, just hear all these negative thoughts come back in, and like the enemy just really wanting to take over my mind. And I just was like, okay, God, what you want? What you got? What is it now? I really felt that the first time around, that was my story and journey to find Jesus. And here I am at this point, but you already have captured my heart and my soul, and you have me. What more do I have to give? And that was hard. And in a split moment from feeling like a strong Christian, I was tempted and turned around to the negative of, here we go again, okay, God. And it's hard because it's a constant battle to walk as a Christian. You are constantly triggered. You can be constantly triggered. You can be constantly tempted. in your day-to-day walk. And this is an example of going through something big in our life, but this is not to say it has to be big scenarios. This is something that happens every day. You are battling the good versus the bad constantly at this phase in our story. I was hurt. I was brought back to that day where I'm yelling at God in the car, staring at the moon, where he's shining on me, like, just give it to me, Danielle, like, yell at me. Come on, let's be real. Let's be raw. That's what I'm feeling at this moment. Like, what again? Here I am. And I had another one of those moments where I'm pulling into the driveway and I pull into the garage and I'm just, you've captured my heart. I don't know what you want from me. I know I shouldn't. Did you hear? Oh my gosh. I might need a snack.
Your stomach?
Yes. Sorry, guys, I'm hungry. But you've captured my heart.
Sound like a demon.
Stop with that. But I had one of those raw emotional states. I don't know what you want. This is me. I've offered, my life to you. You are my savior. I don't know what else I have to give, but you know my heart. If this is not what you want for us, please change our heart's desire to grow our family. And that is where that prayer was. I don't want to walk this infertility journal. I don't want to be this level of like stress and anxiety and struggle between marriage. If this is where this needs to end, Lord, I don't want my heart to desire more children. And that is what the cry was at that moment in the car in the garage. Walk through the door, dinner with Adam and Blake. And you still are juggling these things in your head, but I'm constantly reminded God is so good. He's so good. He blessed me with this life and this family. And look how precious he is and how precious Blake is, and constantly reminded of the good that he has brought to us and that he constantly is good. But I'm still struggling with these thoughts but I want more. And I think that relates to life even today. Like we constantly want and desire more, but we have to be able to look and say, praise him first, right? We have to remember to praise him in the hard.
All praise to the Most High.
And I know why you're saying that. Inside jokes.
I was just looking for a reason to say that.
We're laughing at each other when y'all don't know why we're laughing, but we're laughing. So I'll speed the story up because, like Adam will say, I talk a lot. And then he wanted me to take these clarity vitamins, which is really bringing a lot of clarity.
Nootropics.
It's whatever makes you happy, Adam. So I feel so much clarity right now.
You look pretty clear.
So cheesy.
There's a glow about you.
Did you want to have a reason to say that too? I took those vitamins so you could have a reason to say that.
No, I'm not selling anything.
I know, but I'm just I know you. You already got something goofy to say in your head. Anyway.
They're really boner pills.
Oh my gosh. For me? Sorry, that was off the script. Where were we? The lizard has moved to the door. He wants to escape out of the door.
If there's something that y'all haven't noticed yet that all of our friends say, I usually will take
something serious,
something
and turn
very
it into a joke.
Serious, and just like throw in something very inappropriate and inappropriate, uncomfortable and inappropriate. And so that was one of those moments where I just can't help myself. So
kind of like when you took a picture of me on the doctor's office after the IUI, and I was like, this is inappropriate. We don't take a picture right now. But it was such a great
covered
memory.
up. It wasn't like an upskirt thing. It wasn't like sexual.
I know. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked. And my stomach's growling, and there's a lizard in here. That's going to bother me. The story really takes a big turn at this point because we do get to that second month. I feel like my heart is more
skeptical,
open, and crying, and skeptical, and hurt,
everything,
and joyful. But it's like amplified.
It's like going through everything all these emotions. Everything in you like wants to trust, wants to have like this hope, but then we're human and the enemy is always whispering in your ear, but what if it's not going to work?
That was kind of scary how you said that.
What?
How you said that was kind of scary.
And so, you're going into that next week, there's next test and next month. It's like this battle going on in your mind, but also in your heart. And you're just going back and forth. And
it's hard to, and what I say right now, I'm literally speaking back to myself as of today in real time, is that it's hard to remember that you have to constantly put trust in the things that are unseen. And to me, that's why I wear this trust bracelet, because that's been my word for the year. But I'm constantly have to be reminded that I have to trust something outside of my own control, and someone who is a controller and likes to have structure and know what's coming and know what's next and plan things. And it's hard for me to let go of control and whatnot. And so to trust, way to back that up, babe, to trust into something that is for sure unseen, but my heart knows that there is something more there. That is the battle. That's a battle, but I know it's good and I know it's powerful and I know He is in control and I know God sees above all and has the best intentions for me and my family. In that moment of like going back and doing this again, I do remember feeling, Danielle, you're not in control. We are abiding, we're following, and we're giving this a try. Let go of the anxiety and don't let those things take over your mind and your heart. And trust me, I've got you. We do find out, you hear my stomach growling, we do find out we're pregnant. And that was one of those moments where we're at home, we're wake up, got to get Blake to daycare. She's 3 years old at this moment. You're going to work. Away. You left the house.
I was on my way to Beaumont from Houston.
Yeah, you left the house. I'm getting Blake ready for daycare so I can go to work myself. She's 3 years old. I'm distracted with breakfast for her, getting her ready, getting myself ready. And it was one of those moments where like, oh yeah, today it's like, it was almost like a side thing. Oh yeah, I think today I can pee on a stick. So I did, and you set it down, you forget about it. Blake, brush your teeth. And she comes into our bathroom and I'm like, as she's brushing her teeth, oh yeah, let me look at that stick I peed on. And I'm like, oh, it's a positive. What? So I remember Adam's voice the last time was, do another one.
Yeah.
So I peed on another one and it was positive. And so I remember getting on speakerphone and we called Daddy, we called Blake, and I get Blake and I'm like, let's call Daddy. And so we FaceTimed you and it's a positive, we're pregnant. And, it was just such a different phase of like where you were the first time, finding out you're pregnant to the next time. And he's on his way to work. I don't remember if you were still in the car and pulled over or if you were already in Beaumont.
No, I know exactly where I was whenever you called me.
Where were you?
And then 99 bypass, the 99 loop around, like on my way to I-10. I was like somewhere in a curve right there. I remember exactly where I was. It was
crazy. That. Yeah. And so then, we found out we were pregnant, told Adam. I have a picture of me and Blake holding like the pee stick that we had then sent to him too. And then I think we sent it just to like family, just, the 20 of us.
I don't even know how I just kept going to work that day. Like I couldn't focus the rest of the day. I was so excited knowing how much of a crazy journey it was the last time around. And so, I went to work and
I went to work too. I dropped Blake off at daycare and I went to work.
How I just like didn't turn around and just like come back home just to celebrate because like it was such big news.
Yeah, big news. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We just went on with life. Like this wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, looking back on that, like, man, how did I do that?
I know. Same to me too, though, because I remember I had a very flexible, like I loved my job at that time. And I remember calling the doctor and they're like, okay, you can go ahead and come on in 3 days or whatever it was. And let's do some blood work. And blood work confirmed, or maybe it was the next day or something, or that day, I don't remember. But blood work did confirm that levels were legit, and I was confirmed pregnant. So we did tell our sisters and parents and whatnot. Going with that, we still know that this is going to be a journey. A couple days later or a week or 10 days or something, they're like, we want to wait for sure. So let's do an ultrasound to see a viable sac and heartbeat and whatnot. And usually it's a period of time in your pregnancy where you should be able to see that.
Yeah, it should definitely be there.
According to the levels that I had in that first blood test, my doctor said, okay, at this point, this many days from today, let's come in and do an ultrasound.
Yeah,
and
it should be guaranteed that we'll see a heartbeat that day. So let's schedule it for then.
Yeah. So we went to that appointment, got Blake to school that day, daycare. We both went in to go do because we thought we were going to have an ultrasound. And so we did the ultrasound, and doctor could not find anything. And we're in the midst of hurt right now because what does this mean?
Yeah. You saw the blood work. You said we're pregnant. Here we are. We're expecting to come in, be excited, see a heartbeat, have our first picture of the baby on ultrasound.
To share.
And then the doctor's like searching and searching and searching. It was just so tense. And
it was like, there's nothing there, but
doesn't find anything.
He didn't like turn to the negative or whatever. He just said, it could just be too early. Let's go ahead and have more blood work, and let's see if your levels have gone up since your last one. So we go downstairs for blood work, and then we're just in like this, we don't know, in an emotional state. Am I pregnant? Am I not? What does this mean? What's going on? So later that day, we get the results back from the blood work, and the blood work has supposed to triple every day and all these things. And so it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, but why didn't we see anything? So the doctor's response was, well, we're going to have to wait and see, but it does, your levels do confirm that you are pregnant and levels are increasing. However, this could be an ectopic pregnancy where, it's in the tubes and it's not going to make it or survive. And this could be not a good thing for you too, meaning myself. So once again, come back.
The fear sets in.
That fear sets in and you're like, oh Lord,
But also through that blood test, the hormone levels and stuff were way higher than what they would have typically been.
We needed them
with
to
a singleton baby.
Triple at least a couple of times from that point of when it was their first example of the blood work.
And they were almost tripled.
What they should have been tripled. Yeah.
And which left us like, what the heck is this about? Which we even started calling friends that we knew that had twins. Man, like maybe like these levels are so high, like maybe we're having.
But
maybe
I felt like we should have been able to see something and we hadn't.
And so it's like we're all over the place. We're like, for one thing, it could be an ectopic pregnancy where this isn't going to work out. But then on the other hand, we're just like, why are these levels so high? Like, what the heck is this about? And so only time will tell. And so the doctors come back in 10 days or 5 days?
No, I think it was 3 to 5 days.
Yeah. And we'll check again.
We'll do another blood work and another scan at that point. So at that point, we're going through these days of just in the unknown. Are we pregnant? Are we not? Is this going to work? Is it not? We just don't know. So we get to that morning, the doctor said, I want you to come in. We will do an ultrasound. I'm going to put you in before first patient. So it's going to be like even before opening hours because he had a full schedule. So we're going to the next ultrasound appointment, which is there's a lot of weight at this one because we didn't know if we were going to see a baby in the uterus or if it was going to be an ectopic pregnancy and if we were going to see anything at all. So blood work was constantly showing I was still pregnant. Levels are still going up. So we just didn't know what we were going to see. So we get into this appointment, and in this appointment, we actually do see, if you've seen pregnancy ultrasounds, it looks like a bunch of white spot and there's like a black circle of some sort. And there's something in that black circle. And so that is what we saw. We felt so much relief. We confirmed that there was a pregnancy in the uterus, and praise God, we were actually pregnant again. So that just felt so much relief that it wasn't stuck in the tubes and we were going to have another baby.
Yeah.
So as doctor is looking around and checking everything else, there was a couple other spots looked dark.
Yeah, he said, I see these 3 other dark spots. And he's like, more than likely that it's just fluid, but
pockets of fluid.
We're going to have to keep an eye on that. It's obviously nothing yet or anything like that, but I think it's just fluid. We'll find out in a couple weeks.
Yeah. We left the appointment feeling great. We never really thought of anything else going at that point. We're officially having another baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know, 10 days, 2 weeks go by, and I needed to have another checkup. When we get there in the appointment, we get to the appointment. We know we're pregnant. We're expecting to see the heartbeat at this time.
Yeah.
So we get in the appointment, ultrasound, it's like a vaginal ultrasound. So we get in there and immediately we see that, wow, that doesn't just look like a baby.
One.
It looks like multiple ones in there. And I honestly can tell you, like, I don't ever think that I ever thought that in the moment, because I felt like we would have known from the appointment back if they were not fluid or not.
The only thing that I was in the back of my head was just the hormone levels were extremely high. And then the last thing that we heard from the doctor was, I see these other dark spots. I'm just assuming right now they're just fluid. There was just an inkling that maybe there's something else there, but I didn't. We were just excited to
be pregnant. We didn't really think anything outside of that, or any more or whatnot. So at this appointment, we literally see 3 sacs and 3 heartbeats, and we're like, holy cow, there's 3 babies in there. We're having what we kind of always wanted was twins. This time it's triplets. And we're like, okay, God, we got you. We're doing this. And and
then all the while we have a family group text.
Yes. This is actually on the blog, the text, all the text chain of Adam telling the family.
No one believed me, because no one believes anything that I say, because it's all sarcasm. And so I'm giving play-by-play to the family by text, because I'm not going to call them. But I'm sitting there texting. I don't know, maybe we'll put up the screenshots or something like that. Or no one believes me. Well, we'll just wait. We'll just wait until we can talk to Danielle.
Yeah, until Danielle can confirm this. You're just joking. We have confirmed that there's 3 heartbeats in there, and doctors, just browsing around, looking at everything else.
And I think that because it's a fertility doctor, we're going through fertility treatments. Anytime that the doctor starts to see, especially now multiples, 3 babies in there, I think the demeanor on a fertility doctor kind of changes a little bit. They're like, oh boy, because it's always in the back of your mind, because ever since like Octomom or whatever, crazy things have happened. And I think that, the government or whatever kind of started to crack down on, like, even though we didn't have IVF, we did IUI, fertility treatments and stuff, multiple babies and stuff. And they don't want it to get out of hand. And so the demeanor on a doctor will change a little bit whenever he sees, oh crap, there's 3 babies.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever he's like, okay, this becomes now high risk because she's so small. Danielle's so small.
Oh, thank you.
Not for long. But
never again. So if you recall, like, we had saw the previous appointment that there was a sac in there, that there was a baby in the uterus, and that confirmed pregnancy. And then that there was 3 other spots around that look like fluid. So at this point, we're seeing 3 babies, 3 heartbeats. Where's that other
immediately the doctor's spot? Like, oh crap, where's that other spot?
It either absorbed and it was just fluid, or is that another baby? So as he goes and finds it, looks for it,
he goes, whoop.
We find the 4th spot, and there it is. There is baby number 4, and you're now having quadruplets. Literally in this moment, Adam...
The fear sets in.
Adam, so I'm obviously like
it
on like the doctor bed.
Extreme joy to, oh crap.
Yeah, so Adam...
Not like, oh crap, like not really thinking, oh crap, of like all the other stuff. It's like, oh crap, this is high risk.
Yeah. So
like, I'm like starting to...
Is this the one you spilled your coffee on?
Fear is starting to set in on Danielle's health and her safety and stuff. And
you could see fear like just set over in him. And in me, I'm literally laughing.
I got pale.
Yeah. Doctor's like, you're going to need to sit here. You need to, I mean, we ended up staying there for a whole nother hour and a half.
Yeah.
Or
the
whatever.
doctor asked, he's like, did y'all drive separate? Because if
you need to
somebody needs to come pick up Dad.
Yeah. Because he was pale. And I just started laughing. And
then the play-by-play to family. And then they really don't believe me.
Yeah.
Because then it's like went from triplets to now quadruplets. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Okay.
You're just being dumb at this point.
You're just pulling her leg. But yeah, I just saw God's humor in that. And it really made me laugh at, okay, our heart's desire was always to be parents and to have not normal sized family. We always wanted to have at least 4 kids. And Adam jokes that he only wanted 1 and would spoil the heck out of him. But it was always a joke because I'm like, whatever, we deserve more than 1 kid.
Yeah.
That sounds a bit selfish, but at this point, the appointment now changes to something so different.
Danielle's priority moves way up the list on all of his other appointments.
Yeah. So we sat down in that office for about an hour and, you know, the doctor is literally kind of looking through my charting and all these things and how many follicles I had, the scenarios, and none of it makes sense. This should not be happening. It's just one of those things where as a Christian, I look outside of that science and say, but God, you know, there's no explanation of why this would have happened, even in the charting of my charts and what I had been doing for this cycle. This shouldn't happen. I wasn't even shown that I should have released these eggs, all the things. It kind of was just like a miracle in itself right then and there. And we sat down and had your appointment went from, oh my God, we're pregnant. Oh my God, yay, I'm having triplets to, wait, there's 4. How do you do that? To, I'm about to pass out. So now I'm laughing to, these babies aren't going to survive. You need to really think about this.
The doctor
give all the,
he stands up, you know, after, you know, he finishes the ultrasound and stuff. And he stands up and he's holding the chart and holding the folder with all Danielle's paperwork, and he's like leaning up against the cabinet, and that's whenever he starts going hard into, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever like the fear sets in. Man, you go from like extreme joy, like, man, look how much God is blessing us, to like, now this doctor's telling us this is going to be a hard road. And don't expect there to be 4 next time around. And so then you're just like, what?
Yeah.
He said this is extremely high risk. These babies now are competing for nutrients and nutrition and everything. He's like, don't expect there to be 4. He's like, I've seen this before. Don't expect there to be 4 next time. And, you know, now Danielle's moved up on the priority list, and he wants us to come in, a week and a half. And he said, like, let's come back a week and a half. He said, we're going to have to start having ultrasounds probably every 10 days just to keep an eye on everything.
Well, you're going to have to go see at this point, it's so early in the game. You know, we do see 4 heartbeats, but you're going to come back in about 10 days or so. We're going to do another ultrasound. At this point, don't expect to see 4 babies in there because they're all fighting to survive at this point.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing to take in because we're just on this emotional roller coaster within an hour. We don't know if we're pregnant or not for real, to, wow, you're really pregnant, to, but you're probably not going to stay this pregnant.
And so it's like, now you don't know what to think, because this doctor just went hard in on, don't expect it to look like this next time.
Yeah.
And so then you're just like in limbo.
And, you know, all the thought, we sat there for an hour, then we went downstairs to a little cafe and had to get lunch. And
you're both just kind of like staring at the table.
We don't know what we should be feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get in the car and we're driving home. And so we skipped work this day. We called in sick. No going back to work that day. But we got in the car and it just turned into like this conversation of, what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do? Because we don't know what to do, as far as there's so many things and potential of X, Y, and Z that could be good or bad. And doctor saying this, what should we do about it? How do I take this information in? I saw 4 heartbeats and I'm like, I'm freaking pregnant. I'm really pregnant and this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
God we have 4 heartbeats in there, and I sure as heck am not going to, this is what I'm praying for. I'm just praying for safety. I'm praying for safety, survival and safety, and whatever is his will to be done.
Yeah.
And that next week and a half or whatever, I think there was just a lot of unspoken emotions and feelings really about what was really taking place, and having to explain things and tell our family, because it's just a real big deal now. You know, you're at a level of, it's hard to have twins and triplets, but now we're at quadruplets. All my head and heart went to was, there's 4 babies. God's will be done.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. That's all I can think.
We were scared, and obviously, you know, we had told family and stuff, and no one believed us, and so
I had to confirm.
We had a call.
We had to call them all. Yeah.
So I think our first call was my mom and dad. I believe my parents just have like so much wisdom. You know, they're people of extreme faith. That was such a good conversation with my dad, and he prayed over us
as we drove down 45. On the car, he was praying for us. It was just like a sense of silence after that in the car, and it was what it was. We just had a peace about, there's 4 babies in there, and God's will be done.
Yeah.
We don't know what that means. We don't know what that's going to look like. We will take it day by day.
Yeah,
you know?
We just had this extreme peace about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fear kind of went away, but you know, you're just looking forward to this next appointment, what the future is going to hold.
Yeah.
You're on pins and needles for a week and a half, and then obviously he scheduled us for the very first appointment of the day, the next time around also. And so it was like super, super early in the morning. We had to be, and so the hospital was like 45 minutes 45 minutes
25
away.
25 minutes on a good day, but
yeah. And so it was way before we would be able to even drop Blake off to daycare. So we had to bring her with us for the next appointment. We went ahead and
we brought our 3-year-old to
we brought Blake
the ultrasound appointment to find out if we still have quadruplets.
Yeah.
Pregnancy.
And so, you know, we had told Blake very little about like what's going on or whatever, but we brought like an iPad for her just so she's not paying attention to what's going on in the room. So Danielle, for this appointment, they moved us to this different room. It's got this huge TV up on the wall behind Danielle. And
then one on the side too where I can see.
Yeah. And then she's getting situated up on the table. I'm attending to Blake, getting her like a game or a TV show or something set up on her iPad. So she's just down.
So excited to be on that iPad.
She's down in the corner. I get her situated. And I'm reaching down to pick up my coffee right as he's turning the machine on. And by that time, like we've seen so many ultrasounds over the last few years that we were pros. We could read any ultrasound at that point.
And the looks of a vaginal ultrasound versus the ultrasound that's on top of your stomach, they look to me so different. They're so much clearer.
Yeah.
And you can see better what you're looking for. This was right when the screen's coming on.
Yeah. I reach down, grab my coffee, screen comes up, and immediately we both see it.
And we look at each other.
And I'm picking up my coffee and I see the screen and I see the one egg with
the one sack that now has 2 things in it.
2 babies in there. That wasn't there before. And I just dropped my coffee.
He dropped his coffee and the doctor.
And he heard it and panned away.
Well, yeah, because he was like setting the machine. So the wand's here. He's setting the machine and he sees your coffee spill and kind of glances up and then kind of like moves the wand over. We both knew what we saw. Wow. That would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Never. We had not thought that we would see anything.
2 babies in one sack.
2 babies in one sack. Okay. We left the last appointment and he said, next appointment, you're more than likely not going to see all 4. Just prepare yourself to see less than 4 because they're probably going to die within this time. Once again, I took this as an oh crap moment, but also I said, okay, God, where's Ashton Kutcher? Who's punking us now? You remember that show, Punked?
Yeah.
Who's coming out behind that door and going to say like, got you? We were so nervous that we didn't know what to expect because it was like we saw 4 heartbeats the prior appointment.
You're trying to manage your own expectations.
But you're kind of prepping your heart to see less than, but still want to see 4, even though that's scary. But here we are. We never would have thought any of them would have split or we would have seen more. So in that moment, we both know what that looked like and that there was definitely 2 in there. And so I think Doctor quickly scrolls to find the other sacks to see if they look like there's multiples in one sack. And
there wasn't.
But
all the other ones were still there.
But so basically all of them were still there.
So we went from 4 to 5. So over the course of 4 different ultrasounds, there was more babies in there every time.
Yeah. Do y'all feel this? Do you feel this? I'm like feeling the memories of this and amped up about it. Remembering that walk, you're terrified of, you don't know what the outcome is. And yet God continues to surprise you. And then the next week, there's even more of a bigger God. And then the next week, he's even bigger. And now we're at a point where we are having quintuplets. Our 3-year-old daughter is in the hospital room with us, like the office room with us. We now have to hear about another long appointment on all the things that you are going to have to do, Danielle, who are not capable to do this.
Yeah. And that's whenever he started.
You'll have to see a maternal fetal specialist, which is a high orders multiple doctor or one who deals with high risk pregnancies and different room aspects. But this case, it was high order multiples with a set of identical twins in there.
And then so he started preparing us for this next appointment. He said, you're not going to see me again, but you're going to see this new doctor. And he said, you're not
He said, you're not going to like anything he's going to have to tell you.
Yeah.
And our doctor currently at the time was telling us, this is super high risk. You, Danielle, are a petite, small woman. Your body is not going to be able to do this. As someone is sitting there constantly telling me all of the things that are going to go wrong, potentially, and nothing he is saying is good, my fight starts in me. That fight in me says, no, don't tell me what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's just the fight in me where I get amped up. Okay, yep. Well, but God, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, how did I get here? But God,
Yeah.
So I'm just getting worked up because I'm getting furious. I'm getting really mad that and
we haven't even had this appointment yet. He's
kind of just prepping
us.
He's just prepping
us for this next appointment. He's like, you're not going to like a single thing that he has to say to you.
But he has to tell you.
You have to do this appointment, and he's going to go over every hard, difficult thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
But you have to hear it. And this is now turned to scary. And we finished up that appointment, and that's whenever there's just the weight set in.
And I am on fire inside right now. I'm not even thinking about the outcome of what it's going to be. I'm literally pissed inside that someone just told me I cannot do something.
Yeah.
That's what amped me up. All I wanted to do was prove wrong. That was my fight that gets fired up. You tell me I can't do something and I'm going to show you how much. I'm going to show you how, whatever. I'm going to show you that I can
prove you wrong.
Prove you wrong. Yes. So that's where my head was. I'm just fired up because I didn't like anything that this doctor just told me. I'm here. I didn't expect this. Every week's been scary and it's getting bigger and bigger. And here I am. Now you're telling me you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to survive all these things. And I'm pissed. I'm mad,
But we finish out that appointment and we get in the car and then we head home and then we call my parents again. And then Dad kind of assured us and he prayed over us again. And still, it's still hard to overcome the fear.
Yeah.
Because now you're looking at, we're having quintuplets. Danielle's pregnant with quintuplets. And then you're scared for what's going to happen. You're scared for the future. You're scared for all the things. And you just don't know what to expect. There's very few people in this world now that are in this position that we're in. And then so your mind immediately goes to all those things. And he prayed over us.
And we were in a tight community of walking life with other fellow believers who were praying with us, praying over us, laying their hands on us, and just praying before every one of these appointments that we've talked about, every appointment since the beginning one.
Yeah, we were just completely covered in prayer.
Yeah, and our reactions to what we were facing were very different in this moment, because my fight started where I am like, I'm doing this and there's no stopping me. Like, this is what we're doing. And Adam gets more on that realistic, but you might die, which is hard to take in. And I think everybody, family and friend, everybody is feeling the weight of that. But I can honestly tell you that I may have been scared, but I felt more encouraged to fight through it than to be feared of it. And that is a strength that God gave me.
Yeah.
That's just part of my personality. I just fight back, and I want to fight back. And I just felt, with all the prayer over us, I felt at just complete peace once we received these prayers over us, and it was just, we came to a conclusion.
So we're going to stop this episode, but we'll pick that up with the very first appointment with the specialist and kind of go over everything that he said and what our thought process with it. This story continues, and we're kind of like at a oh crap, here, like what's going to happen? But
I want to close this episode out saying that I believe in a God that's bigger than anyone could ever imagine. And we live in a scientific medical world, especially in the city of Houston, where the medical field is huge.
Yeah.
I'm a testament to say no one knows what's best for you except God. And if you can put your fear, your worry, your anxiety, your stress, your unknown in the hands and trust in your faith, abide to a plan, you will have complete peace over what trial you are facing.
Yeah.
And this is the beautiful part of our story, because, and there's a lot of beauty coming too, but in this moment, we have been told as a family, you're having quintuplets. You need to think about how this is going to affect your life, and you're already a mom, and you're not going to be able to survive this. Now go home and wait till you go see your next doctor. So just encouraging others out there who may be struggling with decisions to make, fighting with something hard, or a disease or an illness, or just life struggles. I'm telling you, I've walked a life of miracles, and I've been witness to miracles. And I'm telling you that, but God.
Yeah.
But God. So thank you for listening today. And we will continue on the journey of the quintuplet pregnancy and what happens after that.
So thank you guys for sticking around and hearing the long story of how we got pregnant and went through multiple ultrasounds, and now we're pregnant with 5 babies. And so we'll continue next week on the doom and gloom appointment.
Doom and gloom, yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Love you guys.